So, Mike, April 15th, your fourth full-length album, In Stasis, is going to be out. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and production that you have put behind this album?
For sure. We're really excited about the record coming out. For starters, we're really stoked for it. It's been a lot of hard work. We have basically, it was kind of accidentally born out of the pandemic and the remote writing situation that we developed over and over again. It was a very intense process. It started slow and got kind of crazy towards the end as we started setting ourselves deadlines. But the general album really is it is a concept album. It wasn't meant to be, and then it became it accidentally, because apparently we can't not do concept albums. So it's kind of like a power struggle theme going on between right and wrong, good and evil, love and hate, and being stuck in the middle in stasis. So that's kind of like the theme of it. But really, it's great because it's Andy's his first full length album, and he's really been an incredible partner to have in the writing process. It's changed the whole way we do our songwriting for the better. And yeah, we couldn't be happier with it, to be honest.
Amazing. And 2019 was the time when Andy joined the band, and right after he joined, like, we all stepped into COVID situation. So how did it all work out for you guys?
It was a crazy one. And it was particularly weird for me because I had actually been on what had turned out to be a hiatus. I left the band in 2015 with injuries, and I rejoined in 2019 as we were preparing for the release of the song Animus. And that went, I mean, it was so fast. Our touring, it felt like everything was really taking off. I quit my job. I was ready to hit the road and really make a go of this. And that was a huge move for me. I'd had lots of starts and stops, lots of successes in my career as a drummer, but this was meant to be, the time. And so we did a couple of shows in India. That was my first show back, was in Mumbai, funnily enough. And then we did like a 20-day tour of Europe. And then we were about to leave for America, and doors closed. So I think what ended up happening was, without realizing it, we all kind of just shut down, focused on our home situations and our work and trying to make a living. Me and Andy doubled down on Twitch, and Brown really focused on his company Riff Hard, where he teaches rhythm guitar online. It's an amazing course, amazing school. You should check it out. It's tied in with the whole Nail the Mix and URM family of companies. It's really cool. And yeah, it went really well. But then about halfway through the year, I think around about the time that I recorded and Tesseract released Portals, where I featured for them as a drummer, the band really started to take off again. I think there was a fire that felt lit under our asses because, and I'm not to say we were looking at them and going, oh, they're busy, we should be busy. It was more like, it was so inspiring seeing a fellow band. And Tesseract is kind of like a sister band to Monuments. They're both born of the same central band, Fell Silent. Ackle and Brown used to be in the same band together. And yeah, it really felt like, oh my God, that's what you can do. Okay, well, what are we waiting for? Let's do some stuff in a very healthy and awesome way. At least it looked like that from the outside. And so once that had happened, we really started to think differently about what we could do. And a huge shout out to them for having me along for that. It sucked that Jay couldn't travel from America, but it was an amazing opportunity. If you haven't, I don't know if you've seen that show Portals that Tesseract did, but it's an astounding audiovisual experience if you haven't seen it. But yeah, then that writing process at that point then led to the song Dead Nest getting finished, and then we started writing Lavos, and then of course, as we got towards doing Lavos, we started to realize what we wanted the album to be. So we then started working towards that record. We recorded the drums in a different environment, and that's where the record really began from there. And I think that gave us purpose that has led to now and kind of carried all of us through from that midpoint in the big lockdowns to now. I think it's really been a savior for all of us to just have something to focus on together.
Amazing, amazing. And I have to say, talk about In Stasis cover art. I think it's fascinating the way the art was done and how it has come out is really amazing. So can you tell me a bit about the making of the cover art and what is the exact theme that was put behind this art?
Sure. The cover art was a really interesting one. The artist, his moniker on Instagram and stuff, and his trading name is Visual Amnesia Design, and he's Indian as well. He's an amazing artist, and the original idea for the artwork was a dark room with a crack of light, and it looked like imagine you're in like solitary confinement, like you've locked yourself in a room for like way too long, right? And the door is just peeking open. And what was meant to happen was that we were meant to have like a kind of a ultraviolet light was shining up runes and drawings on the wall, like as if they were written in chalk. In my head, at least, it was meant to be like that. And then they were meant to be glowing with ultraviolet light to signify the metaphor of some things you can't see the meaning of things until you shine the right kind of light on it, until you look at things in the right kind of perspective. When you're stuck in stasis, sometimes it just takes a change of perspective. But that kind of got lost in communication. And the first draft of the artwork that we saw was actually very similar. It was a version of the art that is now for. Have you seen the artwork for the newest single, False Providence, with the island? So that was the original draft for the album cover. So it was completely opposite from what we were asking for. And it kind of freaked us out because we were about, I don't know, just over 2 weeks away from handing it in. And also it was a much shinier, prettier version of that. It looked like a really beautiful place to be, but it just didn't sit with us as the dark kind of look of the album. And then we just left it. We went back around with Ruben. We from Ruben is Visual Amnesia, told him all the things that we really wanted it to be showed him some of the old references again, talked a bit more about it, and then he just came through a few days before with that piece of it and it was so close to being finished the moment we saw it. And he really poured his heart and soul into it. And I think over the entire process of him doing the designs for the singles, I remember around the Cardinal Red one, he had a really, really bad like either an elbow or a wrist injury. And so it took him a while to get some stuff through, but every time it always came through with amazing quality. And he's really helped to build a series of looks that focus around what he interprets as monuments. So there's a lot of actual monuments, a lot of old ancient sculptures and ancient monuments and ruins are kind of like the underlying theme. And then he seems to, throw a lot of animal references, throughout that. You've got the pangolin in Lavos, the Angry Birds red bird in Cardinal Red, and then in False Providence there's an elephant, and then there's one more single, and we're not sure quite yet what that one's going to look like. But yeah, we'll see how that one comes out. But we're really stoked. He's really a great artist.
Amazing. And Mike, as I said earlier, like there are two amazing videos that has been already out: Cardinal Red and False Providence. Great song, amazing video, and videography behind it. So can you tell me a bit about the making of these two videos?
Sure. Have you seen the first video for Lavos, the first one that came out as well? Yeah. So there's the three ones. So it started with Lavos. We started with an idea that we had to try out working with a videographer who did our playthrough videos, and he did a really great treatment of the last man on Earth running from an extinction level event, only to barricade himself away and discover the deeper things behind it, which was a really cool interpretation of that brief. And I think that video was quite a powerful one. But we ended up really liking it, but wanting something a little different. And then we went with Sitcom Soldiers for the Cardinal Red video. And that was completely bonkers. But actually what had been going on was that Brown had come up with the idea of like the Cardinal sitting on top of a throne of dead bodies with a room of the congregation. And in his mind, hundreds of people with the painted fake smiles. And then as we ran that back and forth and compared budgets and all that kind of stuff, that ended up then looking like how it is. And I really love how the sitcom video ended up, how the narrative plays through with you've got the main congregation member who is actually the girl who gets killed in that is actually my wife. She came along with us and had her throat fake slit in the video, which was hilarious. That was really fun. And also our longtime sound guy, Dave Billings, is in that video as one of the ones. He's the one with the really big painted smile. Really cool idea that went into that video. It wasn't meant to be an anti-religion song per se. Actually, the song that was kind of shining a light on, I'm not going to say anti-religion, but the closest thing to it is the False Providence video, where the brief was that when you've put all of your faith and all of your belief and pinned everything on your faith, you've put all your faith in an ideology, in anything, be that a religion or a person or anything, and then they leave you empty. As God speaks through us, suicidal sights remain is kind of like the quote from the chorus that kind of rings true for it. And that video was done by a man called Zach Pinchin, who's a regular on the scene as well and an awesome guy. And he came through with this video that he just made, and we barely saw anything, and it was coming up quite near the deadline. Again, running theme, everyone's just busy as heck, I guess. And when we first saw it, we were just like, this is incredible. Like the cinematic quality of what he pulled off was just outstanding. And then there is a fourth video, which will come out, and it's another one made by Sitcom Soldiers, which was the Cardinal Red video. So that's going to be coming out on April 15th alongside the album. And yeah, I can't wait for you to see that one as well, because that one's really cool in its own way, and we'll have these four really cool videos. And we're thinking about having a fifth one made throughout the year, later on down the year, because we just really love this process of turning the way we see these songs and expressing them visually with amazing artists. I think it's just beautiful, and it really helps to show people where we're coming from and how we see this. And they're all different shapes and sizes and ways that other people can perceive it. So it just adds to the experience, really, I think.
Amazing. Can't wait to see the next upcoming videos as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait for you to see it too.
And what would be the release day plans for you guys?
I think our only solid plan on release day is that we are going to be doing a feature on Nick Nocturnal's Twitch stream. I'll probably have a couple of drinks. I think we may be all in the same place. We may be like, we're going to be basically spinning up for tour. I should at least be with Brown. Swanee may be with us. Andy may have joined us already. We're still having a tricky time working out a lot of things related to the traveling, including customs and issues there with the signing of all the albums. So we're deep in the middle of that fun time right now. But yeah, it's I think we'll all just feel a collective. It would be really nice to all be in the same room at the same time, though. But realistically, logistics these days, everything's mad. Doing things is so much harder than it used to be. There's so many more things to think about now, especially in England after Brexit.
And what would be, is there any particular festival or touring schedule that has been lined up for you yet?
Yeah, so we have 5 shows in the UK. We are doing the 22nd of March in Manchester. Then the 23rd we're doing in Nottingham, and then 2 days off. The 23rd, 24th, 25th. That's not right. 3 days off, I think. But yeah, then Bristol on the 28th, Birmingham on the 29th, and London on the 30th of April. Sorry, this was all April, not March. And the London show is going to be really cool because it's a really lovely big venue, very cool space. We're hoping to do quite a cool production with it, so that's going to be quite special. Then I think we have Hellfest announced on June 19th, sorry, on the first weekend of the 2 Hellfest weekends. And then I think Dark River Festival in Finland on August the 12th. And we have some shows we're preparing to announce around that. Quite a lot of shows, in fact. We're just waiting for everything to look like it's actually going to happen. The running theme of this whole album is not being able to announce anything because the chances of it actually working are so
Yeah.
so low. We were meant to do Europe, like we were meant to be preparing for Europe, like right now. On album release day, we were meant to be playing in Paris, but we couldn't do Germany, and because we couldn't do Germany, that meant that we couldn't make the whole thing work. We couldn't do the European territories and skip Germany because Germany is such an important place for us. Most of our European fans are there. In fact, it usually comes on the sales and streaming metrics that we analyze a lot. It usually comes in America, England, Germany, and then other European countries, and kind of compete with each other. And India, it's funnily enough, it's always kind of there as well. There's a lot of listening that happens there, which is really, really, really cool. But yeah, you can't talk without Germany. So, but we got lots more to announce. We got lots of stuff around the world we want to do, and where we have actually quite solid plans. You would think if you hear about them, they're happening. If you don't hear about them, just type an F in the comments on one of our things to signify that you know that we tried and failed. But we're trying real hard, and we're working real hard to make it all happen.
Amazing, amazing, Mike. And talking about the album In Stasis again, like 10 amazing, powerful songs, and the album
Thank
got
you.
much and much better each time you guys come out with something new, and great musicianship, amazing progression in this album. So it's a brilliant album, to be honest. And as a band, how do you feel about the outcome of this album?
We're in love with it. We really feel like this is the new foundation of what we will build the remaining monuments off of. To use the metaphor, we definitely feel like this is like we've been trying for 10 years to work out how to do it, and we kind of feel like we've got it now. We've had lots of great things happen. We've had a lot of fun doing what we've done, but we want to put an end to the member switching. We want to really knuckle down and hone in on what we have, and what we now have, mainly between myself, Andy, and Brown as the primary songwriters, and because our bassist Swanee, he's kind of just a live musician for the band. He has been for a while. He's been focusing on regenerative agriculture in a commercial sense. So, but doing some very beautiful things with enabling farmers to regain their land and use their land in a healthy way, moving away from things like pesticides and artificial fertilizers, but actually delivering very natural ingredients for their land in a way that starts making them able to grow crops again, but also in a way that makes those crops trickle down health benefits to the entire population, and also in a way that then profits the farmers more money and helps them to sequester more carbon out of the atmosphere. It's quite a beautiful initiative that he's doing. It's a gorgeous setup, and but it takes up pretty much all of his time. So there's possibilities that there are shows that he can't even make, but for now he can make a lot of them. He can make them all pretty much. But what me and Brown and Andy have been creating together has been really magical this time around. It was a challenge when we lost our second guitarist, Ollie. We had to rethink our whole process, but it turned the challenge became a really good triumph. And also, I've got to say a huge thank you and shout out to Mick Gordon, who helped on the whole album. He was co-producing and doing post-production on basically the whole record, just adding awesome sonic flair and interesting sounds and atmospheric worlds, and powerful additions all around, and structural stuff as well, especially on the song Somnus that I was the primary songwriter on. He came in and helped me rewrite the song in a way that it was great. He could tell me that the song was getting boring in the middle without being harsh, and in a way that he was like, if you just do this at that point, that's gonna make you keep your attention. And it was like, great, that works. It was really, really cool. Very positive. And then also our mix engineer, George Lever, he was fantastic to bounce ideas off of. And then he suggested working with Jens Bogren, because they'd had a good relationship. I can quote George. I remember him saying that Jens, when we asked who he wanted to master it, who he would choose, he suggested Jens because he said that Jens's masters were the most musical and powerful balance of anyone he'd been working with. So I'm really glad we just like let him lead on that. Ultimately, this was just such an incredible record to work with. I can't wait to see how it develops from this point forward. But yeah, it's been really sick.
Amazing, amazing. And how has the road been for you guys so far?
The what? Sorry.
The road, the musical journey has been for the band
Ah,
so far.
yeah. There've been points where we've been tearing our hairs out, but only just because we were putting the pressure on to make the record happen by a certain date, and we were really pushing for the highest quality we could get. But in general, we're a lot tighter as a group of friends. The family vibes are very strong, um, and yeah, we definitely feel very accomplished with what's happened. Of course, the fans will have to make their mind up about whether or not they like the direction that we're moving in. But we're just happy that if we've made anything that anyone's ever enjoyed, that's a win. Even if what we did before speaks to them more, we can only hope that what we do now speaks to them as much, if not more. But that's not for us to decide. That's down to the listener, their own lives, where they're at, what they're feeling when they first listen to those songs. You know, we can't control all of that. But we're really stoked. I listen back to it and I'm like, this is mad. And it's crazy how complete it feels, especially being that it was just made in so many small bits. It's incredible how it all feels like such a solid record. Me and Brown had a lot of fun lining up the songs,
Yeah,
choosing the playing order. That was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that.
amazing, amazing. And I just want to know, how did you come up with the name Monuments, and how does Monuments connect with the metal music?
So Monuments was Brown's idea. Before Monuments was a band, it was a side project um, for for him while he was in Fell Silent. And I think it was part of the sound that he had, just sounded kind of like, I think he had two potential uh, band name ideas. I think one of them was Circles and the other one was Monuments. And I'm not sure what led him to go that route. I think he was very influenced by certain conspiracy theories, like the Nibiru and the alien cultures that could be influencing the Earth, but mainly the ancient cultures of the ancient Mayans and the things that people knew as common knowledge and the incredible feats that people could achieve in the civilizations millennia before us really inspired him a lot at the time. And so I think the name is a mix of the sound of a monumental sound plus just putting it out there that there are things that we used to know that we've long ago forgotten. And then everything kind of has related to that in some way, especially the first album, Gnosis and Gnosticism,
Yeah,
of just embracing that higher knowledge and that higher um, that higher intelligence, if you know what I mean. It's kind of like it kind of all falls around that. But I really just like the name because it sounds like what it is. It sounds big, it sounds important in a weird way, without meaning that it sounds self-important. It really draws your attention in the same way that something could do if it were right in front of you.
amazing. And how was the tour experience in India? And did that experience makes you to come back again more and more to India?
It was amazing. My first show back after my long hiatus was in Mumbai. And a huge shout out to everyone who came out and saw us in Mumbai and Bangalore in 2020 in January. Those were some fun shows.
Mhm.
There's some YouTube footage of that. That was great. We ran straight from that into a European and UK tour, which was really fun. We went out with Heart of a Coward and I Built the Sky, who's an Australian guitarist and he brought out a UK band that I put him in touch with a few musicians and he came out with them, and it was really fun. We all lived together on a tour bus and it was a fucking wicked time. Lots of old friends in Heart of a Coward as well, which was fun. We just wish it hadn't been cut short, that the American tour hadn't been stopped and the whole process hadn't been stopped. But we have hopes to come out to other parts of the world. We have some ideas. We have some quite strong ideas. And
Mhm.
if they happen and we're already in that neck of the woods, we would love to come back to India. We'd love to know where in India you want us to play. So, just write, tell us any way you can. Just be like, come to this place in India, and we'll know where the people are. Let us know. We'd love to come back. We love the country. We love the people. We love the music seems to speak to Indians in a really special way, and we just want to celebrate that by doing it over and over again if we can. Fingers crossed.
Amazing, amazing. And would you like to share some of the great moments that you had over the years?
Like including since 2011, 2010?
Yes, anything.
I think some of the highlights for me, I missed some of the amazing moments at the peak of the band due to my injury, which was a shame. There were things like Wacken Festival and South Africa that I missed, but I had an amazing time touring the world with the band in the past. I think that those Indian shows is a huge highlight in 2020, but I also have a lot of love for the time we first came to India in 2012. That in Kharagpur at the IIT, the summer festival. That was amazing. Humongous crowd, longest set we'd ever played. Still, I think the largest crowd we played to, but a close second is Soundwave Festival in 2014 in Australia. That was really, really great. And also just a lot of the American stuff that I've seen the band do while I was on my hiatus. I think there were some amazing things that happened there as well. But I think for me, being able to travel to a faraway place and meet people so common-minded, that just hits home in a really beautiful way. So yeah, Australia and India are kind of winning for me.
Amazing, amazing, Mike, amazing. And talking about monuments again, you guys are doing an amazing work, and most importantly, the way you create the music and the sound, the outcome of each of these albums that you have created so far, it's all genuine, sounds so different, totally rest from all this genres. So it's not genre specific, I would say, although it's termed as progressive. I feel there's a lot of things put inside of it. You guys do a lot of research and do a lot of work behind it, and makes each album sound perfectly amazing to listen to. So how, as a band, do you feel about the music that you've been creating so far?
We feel really, really confident with it. I think the music can't really be created without the concept, because for one, Brown can't write anything unless he's writing about a feeling or a subject or some kind of concept in his head. It just, nothing comes out, because if he just focuses on the notes, there's no story to tell. And if there's no story to tell, there's no reason for the riffs to sound any different from everything it's already been. So it's part of he's a storyteller ultimately. And that's a beautiful thing, because his stories and his concepts then become doubly cool when Andy then bounces off of them. And then as we then keep bouncing that back and forth, we create this, they just have such a good conceptual communication, which really inspires us to push it even further. But the two of them are just fantastic to work with. So yeah, I hope we can make many more albums and develop on this process more and more, and hopefully spend more time in the room, because that's my only sadness, is that we didn't see each other again since 2020 until after the album had been written. And that was weird to welcome Andy back into the UK and then be like, we wrote an album since we last saw each other. That's fucking weird. Like, how many times, how can that be a thing? And it is. So yeah, really stoked with that.
Amazing, amazing. And how does the band look into the future?
We're just stoked to have a cool cycle, do lots of shows, try to keep the concepts flowing through the internet. We don't want to just stop that kind of deep look within on social medias. So we're planning to include a lot of that with Twitch and across all our social medias, our Discord server, and all of that. And then at some point, I'm sure we're going to start writing again, and see what happens for number 5. But yeah, we're really stoked to just hit it hard and try to bring this album to as many people as possible. We're really aiming for the skies now. I think we really want to bring this feeling to as many people who would welcome it into their hearts as we can bring to, basically.
Amazing, amazing, Mike. And Mike, finally, what would be the message that you want to give to the fans around the world?
Just if you're listening to Monuments, I thank you deeply for caring and jumping onto this journey with us, no matter whether you've just heard it or if you've been a long time listener. I just really appreciate, and I know the band really appreciates your involvement and your support. It means the world. We just love making this, and the prime reason we make it is to bring it to you. So we just hope to see you at a show at some point and have a really good time rocking out to the stuff. Without meaning to sound too cheesy, we're just stoked to stoked to do it. As sometimes we say, we're just happy to be angry in the first place.
Amazing, amazing, Mike. And Mike, I want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity today to have this wonderful interview with you. And thanks for the time that you have given me today. It's a real pleasure to meet you. And thanks for the great music that you guys been doing. And hope to listen to In Stasis that is coming out on April 15th. A great album, I would say. I believe a lot of people will follow Monuments and enjoy the music that you've been creating. Thanks again, Mike.
Thank you so much. Thank you for making the time. Thank you for sharing it with your followers. It means the world. And yeah, thanks for your wonderful energy as well. I appreciate it. And I hope to speak with you about other things in the future.
Sure, Mike. Hope to see you here in India soon. Take care of yourself.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Look after yourself too.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.